areas of tension. Perhaps the body feels fatigued and tired. Perhaps there are aches and strains from a busy day. Or perhaps the body feels particularly charged and energetic and perturbed by the hoovering. So just seeing the body honestly. And then shifting the awareness to the breath, that next layer of the body. Taking deep inhalation in through the nose and exhalation via the nose or the mouth. It's samavriti as well, so it's an equal balanced breath. Making sure that we exhale for about the same amount of time as we inhale and being sure to empty out that exhalation. And then one last shift with the awareness to the movement of thought across the mind, of feeling across the heart. So we just want to return to that state as a quiet observer, not looking for a resolution or an answer or being led astray by our thoughts. Just watching them as they occur with a sense of gentle detachment as opposed to conflict with the thought. Just gently detach. Now's not the time to worry about those things. With the next deep inward breath, taking the arms wide and high, we'll flicker the eyes open, gaze skyward, search for a prayer position, connect the palms above the head. As we exhale, softly beginning to collapse the spine and fold over the legs, support the weight, slide or walk the hands out in front. We're just taking a bow. It's not about how deep we get the head here, but rather just lengthening through the spine. With an inward breath, rising very slightly, walking the hands over towards the left side, maybe about 10 o'clock here. And as we exhale, take a bow over the left knee. Again, we're not comparing one another. We're not trying to keep up with one another. It's not about how deep we can or can't go. We don't like to use ideas like that. We talk about what's accessible or what's available to the body or whatnot. Breath and rise, so deep inhalation, walking back across the center all the way over to the other side, and as we exhale, take a bow over the right knee. And with the next inward breath, rising again, walking the hands back towards the center. Exhalation, one more bow, sinking down. But this time as we rise, beginning to round off through the spine, you want to shrug the shoulders, tuck the chin in towards the chest, start to slide or walk the hands back. We'll catch the knees in the palms, Upavista Majariasana. You want to push the spine backwards as we keep the chin tucked here and round off in a seated cat position. And as we inhale, beginning to roll the shoulders back, the hands slide back up onto the knees here. We broaden the chest, lift the chin. Exhalation, sinking down and backwards again. Tucking the chin, releasing the breath. Really rounding off through the spine. Inhalation coming forwards, upwards. Really lift the heart with the inward breath. And exhalation, one last time, sinking down and back. As we come back to a neutral position, hands towards heart center, we'll connect the palms here before we reach up in preparation for our supine twist. So inward breath, reach towards the sky. Outward breath, release the left hand out and around towards the back. And we want to release the right hand over the back of the left knee, a soft twist as we expose the armpit here as well. Don't let the head of the humerus, that bone in the upper arm, turn inwards. Once the left hand reaches the earth, pop the chest, inward breath, and outward breath, twist a little deeper, look over the shoulder for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Gently releasing back through the center, connect the palms here. Then inhale, reach up. Exhalation, opposite side, left hand over the back of the right knee. Draw that right arm out and around towards the rear. Lean into the heel of the palm, pop the chest, another inward breath. Exhalation, twist a little deeper, look over the right shoulder, but don't force the neck. For 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Gently returning to the center, connecting the palms one last time for that reach up, inward breath. This time it's backs of the palms that meet. We'll warm the shoulders up, so release the arms down around behind the tailbone. Tuck the chin and shrug the shoulders to facilitate here. Interlace the fingers, so lock them together. Then roll the shoulders back, wave through the spine, lift the chin and begin to move the hands away from the tailbone if it's available. For 5, for 4, for 3. Noticing that warmth rise up as the heart lifts for 2. And for 1, hands to tailbone before the release. Then start to shrug the shoulders, round the spine, tuck the chin again, and catch the knees in the palms as we release that bind. Sink down and back. Upavistha Majariasana. Inhalation, forwards and upwards. Roll the shoulders back. Open the heart, lift the chin. And then this time as we release, back through that neutral position. We'll bring the hands back behind the hips here, just ground about 6 inches behind them, and release the legs out in front, one at a time, slow and steady. Start to windscreen wiper or drop the knees side to side. That's it, so we'll just keep the knees up. Slowly waking up the hips, maybe the ankles as well. We can draw little half rotations with the feet. I always find that my ankles feel very rusty after a cross-legged position. As we come back to stillness, it's a reverse tabletop, so we'll lift the tailbone off. We'll maybe widen the hands very slightly and point the fingertips out so it's not as intense on the shoulders. Or if the shoulders feel very available or accessible, we can point fingers forwards with slightly narrower stance, but definitely don't point them towards the rear of the mat. We know already, and we spoke about in the past, hyperextending the elbow and the danger of it there. At least here and here, the elbows, if they need to collapse, they can safely, as opposed to here where we almost lock the elbows into place. So let's roll the shoulders back, open the heart, start to lift the hips. We don't have to go too high too soon. Allow the head to drop back if the shoulders allow, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and on 1. As we start to lower, see if we can hover the tailbone back to between the hands. So push into the heels, straighten the legs, a little float if it's available, slowly lower. As we roll the shoulders back and open the heart, the arms reach, Dandasana, the seated staff. And remember to push out through the tailbone here, almost push the chest forward slightly, lift the chin, deep breath, expand, lift the heart. As we exhale, beginning to fold Paschimottanasana over the legs, slow and steady at first. You'll notice the hamstrings might fight back a little bit. We don't want to fight against that. Find a bind just at that peak point where you feel that deep tension in the lower back and the hamstrings, and then sit tall, rise up slightly. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, have a little wiggle and sink a little deeper. And repeat the process. with the cycle of breath here. So as we inhale, rise slightly, maybe even wave slightly through the spine. As we exhale, sink a little deeper. As we inhale, rise a touch, that little wave, deepening the stretch with each outward breath. And eventually bring in abdomen and chest. Remember, that's what we're leading with here. We're not using the head. It's not all about, oh, I have to get the head down, but rather the abdomen and chest, I want to get it nestled into the fronts of the thighs and the knees and push out through the bottom whilst I'm doing so. For 5. For 4. For 3, for 2, and for 1. Slowly beginning to rise. We'll bring the right foot with us for Hasta Padangushthasana. Remember, Hasta is the hand, Pada is the foot, Angushta the big toe. So as we rise, use the left hand as a support to kind of slide up the left leg and bring that right leg with us. Good. A little bit of movement here. Just draw circles or oval shapes with the heel. Again, probably a more dynamic way to approach stretching the hamstrings. Just make sure we don't slouch and collapse whilst we're doing it. We want to sit nice and tall. We already know that most of our seated positions require us to activate as the spine's under compression. So we've got to keep it long, keep it safe. That's what the inward breath and sitting tall is about. And then drawing the leg out towards the outside. Search for a double bind as we bring it back in again. So back of the heel, interlacing the fingers. If that works, if it's available. If we find there's quite a big bend in the leg, we can still work with a calf or maybe even the back of the thigh and just try to ask the leg to straighten up slightly without forcing it. Good. Sit tall wherever we are. And that little trick of bringing the inner thigh to the outside of the abdomen, again, just makes pulling it in a little bit more accessible, a little bit easier. As we're following that shape, that almost train tracks of the hips and the shoulders. For 3. For 2. And for 1. Changing hands here. So bringing the left hand to the outside of the foot or maybe somewhere on the outside of the upper calf as we kick the foot away. So we're pushing that foot away to sit us up nice and tall. Right arm reaches for the sky, Parivrtta Dandasana, and out towards the rear. We're following the hand with our gaze as well. So looking out over that right shoulder. Activate the front leg, pulling the foot back for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drawing the right hand up towards the sky, and we're following it with the gaze as we do so. Once we reach that vertical point, we start to bend the right leg and guide it in with the left hand just above the knee for Ardha Matsyendrasana, the half Lord of the Fishes. So we're starting to slide left hand up onto the top of the right knee, and then draw, as we inhale and lengthen again, the right hand back to where it came from, but this time all the way to the earth as we lean into the heel of the palm. So we're going the opposite way here. So if you imagine the inside of the leg that's up is pointing out to the left, well, we're turning to the right and we're reaching with the left hand towards the sky. As we exhale, dropping that left arm over the back of the right knee. So we should find that the arm that we lock over the back of the knee is the opposite one. So it's not the same side, it's a different side. Again, inhale, pop the chest. Exhale, twist a little deeper. For 5. For 4. For 3. For 2. And for 1. Let's gently come back through the center. Try not to fully collapse the spine. Keep the chin slightly elevated and search for for that big toe with the right hand. Same as before. We inhale and extend the leg out in front. Left hand on top of that left thigh will support the weight, or maybe on the earth, depends what feels appropriate here, and lift the chin on the way down as we follow the leg. Notice push into the back of that left heel just to govern the descent. Paschimottanasana. And then we begin to rise on the left side, so take that big toe with the left hand. Slowly slide the right hand up. Again, sit tall here, almost pop the chest very slightly. And then a little bit of movement with that left foot. And before guiding the leg out towards the left side slightly, then back in again, search for a double bind. And again, part of the reason that we do that is to kind of allow the thigh to travel a little towards the outside of the abdomen and the breast, the chest region, and then back in again. So it just makes it a little bit more true to the way that the body works, as opposed to an almost slight supine twist and pulling the leg in front, which means we kind of cock it off of angle slightly. We're not keeping it all parallel. For 3, sit tall, keep the chin slightly elevated. For 2. And for 1. Remember, right hand now to the outside or the blade of that left foot. As we start to push the leg away and straighten the right arm, we sit nice and tall, reach with the left arm, draw that big quarter circle, that quarter moon if you like, out towards the rear of the mat. And then activate the grounded leg as well. So just pull the foot back, tense the quads, a very active position here. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. As we start to move the left hand, follow it with the gaze, with the eyes. Look up and over, then begin to bend the left leg, draw the foot into just above the outside of that right knee. Right hand slides up to the head of the left knee, and then we return the same direction that we came from, draw the hand all the way down to the mat. We can lean into the heel of the palm, but remember to make sure that we're not kind of slouching into that shoulder. We're not relaxing into the position. We're keeping the spine engaged, reaching right arm towards the sky, and as we exhale, locking it over the back of that left knee. Inhale, pop the chest and lengthen again. And on the exhalation, twist. Look over the left shoulder. And it's at the bottom of the outward breath that we're twisting a little deeper each time. Try and observe the resistance in the body. And although we're activating the spine, we need to kind of soften into the twist at the same time. For 3. For 2. And for 1. Gently ease back around through the center. We'll continue to sit slightly tall, search for the left big toe, and extend the leg out in front. We'll support with the right hand as we start to lift the chin and follow the foot down. Right arm then reaches down and forwards for the bind, Paschimottanasana. Of course, we're not staying this time. As we rise, sliding the hands up towards the hips, little support of the weight as we bring the feet in. And we rock forwards to ground the palms and step to our high plank position. Phalakasana. So tuck the tailbone slightly here. Really push the earth away firmly into the heels of the palms. Grip with the fingertips for 3, 2. And on 1 with the exhalation, dropping knees, chest, chin or forehead. Chaturanga. Just a very, very slight push with the hands here. Roll the shoulders back, engage the lower back, look forwards. Bhujangasana. For 3, 2, and 1 on the exhalation. Taking a bow again. We'll push a little firmer with the hands this time and rise slightly higher. On the inward breath, pull the shoulders back. And rise, look forwards for 3, for 2, and for 1. Wave down, but tuck the toes. We're heading towards upward facing dog. So we'll wave through the body as well. Big inward breath, up we go. Really push into the heels of the palms and activate as well through the upper body. So push the earth away, lift the chin. Then ground firmly through the knees, round off the spine as we rock the tailbone back. Begin to tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone, slide the hands back about a foot, and then come forwards again until the shoulders are above the wrists. Madhyasana. Inhalation, drop the spine, lift the crown of the head, push up and out through the tailbone. And exhalation, round off. Inhale, drop the spine, Vithalasana. Exhale, back to the cat. Once more for the cow. Lift the head. And one last time for Madhyasana. Let's step the hands forwards about 6 inches, tuck the toes, lift the knees and push backwards and upwards, Adho Mukha Svanasana. We'll have a little walk here on the spot. So just bending one leg at a time. As we bend the knee, try to tip the bottom in the same direction as whichever knee is bent. Hopefully that makes sense. So if we bend the left knee, let the bottom tip to the left, but continue to push towards the rear of the mat. Part of that, the purpose in doing that is it helps to stretch down the back of that straight leg. So in this case, it would be the right leg. And then when we bend the right leg at the knee and straighten the left leg and tip the bottom to the right side, again, we stretch down the back of the left leg and even the spine, the lower back here. So continue that little walk. But we'll head towards the front of the mat. So maybe on tiptoes, maybe on firmly planted feet. Let's arrive in a halfway lift. Flatten the back, peek forwards, maybe hands on the shins here, or perhaps fingertips to the earth, but try not to round off and slouch here. Think about a long spine. Again, push the bottom out. So we're there's this up and out action here as we lift and look forward. As we exhale, fold a little deeper. If the hamstrings feel particularly tight still, just consider a bend in the legs. You don't have to force anything here. All together, hands to shins. Let's walk our way up, slowly, steadily. Uncoil, so start to round off through the spine. Maybe shrug the shoulders, tuck the chin until the last moment, then roll them back. Begin to lift the chin. Arms go wide and high. Big deep breath. Option to drop the head back slightly here. Exhalation, releasing the hands down towards the earth. We'll step the left leg back for Anjaneyasana, the low lunge on the right side. So we drop that left knee, untuck the toes. Choose to stay down, maybe on the fingertips by rolling the shoulders back, lengthening the spine and looking forwards, or rise and reach with me. We'll sweep the arms wide. On the inward breath and on the outward breath, sink a little deeper into that front leg. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rise, inward breath. Exhalation, release the hands. Frame that front foot. We want to rock the weight back as a half split. So as we rock back, we begin to straighten the front leg and the spine. So rise with it. That's an inward breath. With the outward breath, start to walk the hands forwards and fold if it's available. You might find if there's a big old bend in that front leg, you need to come up a lot higher and work your way around, maybe from the side, or perhaps if at home, when you're practicing at home, you can use blocks or something to lean on. For 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's rock the weight forwards again. Frame that foot and return to Anjaneya. So sweep the arms nice and high. That's an inward breath. This time on the outward breath, we'll immediately release the hands, frame the foot, tuck the toe. We're going to rock back to step forward. So we rock the weight back, then push off and step to the front, halfway lift, flatten the back. With the exhalation, ground the hands again. It's the other leg that moves, so send the right leg towards the rear of the mat. Drop the knee, untuck the toes. Choose to stay low if you did before, or sweep the arms up towards the sky. For 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Inhale, lengthen slightly. We almost rise a touch when we do that. Then exhale, release the hands. Frame the foot, rock the weight back, straighten the leg and the spine as you do so. Inward breath here. Exhalation, start to fold, if the body allows, over that front leg. Just be careful with the hamstrings and the lower back here. Keep the chin slightly lifted. We don't want to round off through the spine here. For 3. For 2. And for 1. Rising slightly, shifting the weight forwards again into that front leg. We'll sweep the arms back up towards the sky. Big inward breath. And on the outward breath, release the hands, frame the foot, tuck the toes, lift the rear knee. As we did before, we'll rock back and step forwards. Halfway lift, flatten the back. This time it's grounding the palms, stepping, or maybe considering that bunny hop into your high plank, or if it's available, a full bounce into the low plank Chaturanga Dandasana. Then waving through the body. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. And then up and back to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. We'll step the right leg forwards under the body. Warrior 1, it's 45-degree angle with that rear foot. Sweep the arms up towards the sky, Virabhadrasana. And sink down. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release the hands, frame that front foot, step back to the high plank. We'll lower straight away after arriving to Chaturanga Dandasana. A wave through the body, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana and Adho Mukha Svanasana. It's the left leg that moves for Virabhadra this time, the Warrior 1 on the left side. So 45-degree angle, that rear foot. Step forward, sweep the arms up. Inward breath. And on the outward breath, find your alignment. For 5, 4. That's it. Make sure we've got a bend in that front leg and bring the knee over the ankle. 3. Everything faces forwards as well. We're kind of fighting slightly against that rear foot. But you've got to find the sweet spot. We don't want to fight so much that we force something. We've still got to keep a strong rear ankle. That's it. Let's inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release the hands. Frame the foot, step back to the high plank. But instead of lowering this time, it's a side plank. Bring the left hand into the center of the mat for Vasishta. We turn onto the side. Now there's an option to drop that left knee and support the weight here as well. Or in the full side plank, maybe to spice it up a little bit and lift that right foot above hip height. Depends how that left shoulder and the left wrist feels. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and on 1, head back to the high plank. Adjust the hands, lower Chaturanga Dandasana. Wave through the body. Big inward breath, Urdhva, and Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Take a walk on the spot here. We'll just release that tension that we're building in the lower region. And then as we come back to stillness, push up and out initially through the down dog. Find stillness. For 3, for 2, and for 1. This time up and over on the tiptoes. Arch the spine. We almost wave through the spine. The chin's tucked until the last moment as we arrive in the high plank. And this time it's right hand to the center. Vasishthasana. We turn and open to the opposite side. And remember your option. You can lift the foot or drop that knee to support the body. For 3, for 2, and for 1. Back to the high plank, slowly, steadily. with control. Lower chaturanga, maybe hover above the ground here. And then wave through the body, upward face. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. But now preparing to head towards a squat malasana at the front of the mat, so we can crawl there, or if we've been practicing our bunny hop, let's do that. Come onto the balls of the feet, bend the knees and hop forwards with control. As we arrive, instead of immediately sinking, have a rock side to side. Ease the pelvis and the hips into this one. If you find that it feels a little bit tight, you want to stay up higher and just rest forearms, elbows on the backs of the knees. That's okay as well. Sometimes if we're practicing at home, we might like to sit on something and soften into this position. As we come back to stillness, if it's available, find that little dimple just above the knee, and it's the back of the elbow. We can push in, hands connected at heart to help, again, facilitate the opening of the pelvis there as we sink. We'll take 5 cycles of breath here. One last cycle, deep inhalation and deep exhalation. And then with the next inward breath, rise very slightly, lengthen the spine, almost peek up a touch. We're heading towards happy baby. So as we exhale now, we start to round off and tuck the chin, shrug the shoulders, trust the process, roll back through the spine, catch the feet, and then flatten the back. And again, we're widening the knees here, widening the thighs, but at the same time pulling down on the feet, or maybe if we have a bind around the backs of the knees, if the feet feel a little too far away, or if we find that we're really lifting the tailbone so that we can get hold of the feet, then maybe just bring the hands around the backs of the knees. A little bit of movement here, a little rock side to side. Another way to just help us out a little bit with widening the thighs, widening the hips, the pelvis. Remember to keep the awareness on the breath here as well. Nice deep cycles, especially if the mind's busy. And it's quite nice to think of the awareness as a bubble sometimes. And when we focus the awareness and we bring it inwards, we shrink in that bubble. But the trouble with the fluctuations of thought, just like with a bubble, is too much movement, too much wind, and the bubble bursts. So in a similar sort of way, our awareness is disturbed by the movement of thought. That's why we want to step back from that. Sometimes just focusing on the breath helps with that. Let's come back to stillness. Bring the knees in towards the abdomen. We'll hug around the shins, or maybe somewhere up towards the tops of the knees if it's accessible. An option to lift nose or forehead to knee here as well. Maybe take a little rock side to side. Just changes the way that we engage the back, the lower back with the earth. So as we move, it's almost like a little massage around that lower region where the kidneys are. As we come back to stillness, releasing soles of the feet to the earth, both knees are up, hands down past the hips. One by one, tuck the shoulder blades. We prepare for Setu Bandha Chaturanga, the bridge. So inhale, push the hips to the sky. Start to lift. Again, don't force. We don't have to go too high. But equally, if the body calls for it, if it feels appropriate, maybe you can start to push. And as every inhalation expands and lifts the tummy and the rib cage, push a touch higher. Really activate the quads, the muscles in the front of the thighs. Option to interlace the fingers as well underneath the body and bind with long arms. Deep cycles of breath, just a couple more. Exhalation, bringing the hips down to the earth. Gently release the bind. Arms can move wide here, and we'll drop the knees side to side. Left to right, right to left. Just allow that tension to dissipate a little. And coming back to stillness in the center. Right foot moves towards the sky. Keep the left knee as it is, up. Push out through the heel of the right foot and draw a couple of circles with the toes here. Little rotations at the ankle, both directions, clockwise, anti-clockwise. And then as we bring the foot to stillness, we'll send it down over the back of that left knee. So we're beginning to cross the legs. The foot slides down the outside of the left calf. Left hand finds its way onto the top of the right knee. So remember opposites. Anytime there's a supine twist, it's invariably opposite arm and leg. So left hand to the head of the right knee. And as we exhale, twist the legs over towards the left side. Opposite direction to the extended arm. We have an option to look over that right shoulder as well whilst we're here. And notice, really feel the body here. The difference between the twist when we were seated and now the twist that we experience when we're reclined. Here we'll find that we're able to soften and relax and surrender the spine. We're no longer under compression here. We're not carrying the weight of the torso. So a very different twist, a seated twist, an active twist, a reclined Supta Parivritasana, a soft twist. If the thighs are tensing and clenching together, try to relax them, try to let them be floppy. Shoulder on the left arm, the one that's bound to that right knee, is tense. Try to soften. Just keep a little bit of tension maybe in the fingers of the left hand to help deepen that twist. Slowly beginning to bring those legs back up through the center, untangling, uncrossing, both arms are wide. We'll keep the knees up and the soles of the feet grounded and drop the legs side to side. Slowly, steadily, be mindful of the lower back here. And then coming back to stillness, this time it's the right knee that stays static whilst the left foot pushes up and out to the sky. Straighten that leg, stretch the hamstring slightly, then draw those rotations at the ankle, clockwise, anti-clockwise. And the foot comes back to stillness, and we dive it down over the back of the right knee, outside of the right calf. The knees are stacked, almost as if we were seated cross-legged. Right hand to the head or the top of that left knee, and as we inhale, we expand. As we exhale, we begin to twist over to the right side. Option to turn the head to face out over that left shoulder. And again, as we arrive in our position, almost scan the awareness across the body, beckoning those little areas that are hanging on, that are tensing up, to soften, to surrender. Beginning to bring the legs back up to that central position. We'll uncross, untangle, both knees stay up, soles of the feet grounded, and we drop side to side once again. As we come back to stillness, we'll prepare for another bridge, Setu Bandha Chaturanga, or maybe if you've already experienced it in your practice, or you're used to performing it, or you fancy giving it a try, we can head for Urdhva Dhanurasana, the upwards wheel. So we'll bring the hands over the shoulders if we're heading towards the wheel. We want to widen the feet very slightly, and we'll rise to the crown of the head. So if you're not sure, take a look at this body first. The hands will flip over as close to the shoulders as available, and with a firm push into the heels of the feet, we'll rise to the crown and then adjust however feels appropriate, and then rise again into the wheel. So the option for the bridge is there as well, if the wheel feels like it might not be accessible. So let's push up when we're ready. For 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Gently release to the crown of the head. Then allow the tailbone to work towards the heels. We roll across the back of the head gently, careful with the neck. And arms release down by the side. Again, let's drop the knees side to side, little windscreen wiper. And as we come back to stillness, one by one, bringing the knees up and in towards the abdomen. Let's take a hug around the shins or the head of the knee. Same as we did before. Option to lift nose or forehead to knee here as well. Empty out the breath as you do so. Maybe even a little rock side to side. We come back to stillness. We release hands down past the hips. Now, option to take Ardha Halasana, the half plow, push out through the heels and pull the toes back here. We want to work towards straighter legs. It doesn't mean locking the knee. It's very rare that we'll lock joints when we move our body. It's not normally a good idea for obvious reasons. But we want to straighten up as much as available, or with a little push into the fingertips or the hands here, we can send the legs a little further, but be very careful with the lower back. You might feel a little bit tense after the bridge and the wheel that we've done now. And of course, be mindful of the neck as well. Don't turn it left or right. If the toes or the feet don't touch, perhaps support the lower back or the middle back by the rib cage with the hands. A little push into the backs of the upper arm or the elbows to stabilize. If you find that you've got a lot more available here, you might want to interlace the fingers and bring the elbows down to the earth, then lengthen the arms away from the body and bring the shoulders into play as well, but no good for tense shoulders. A few more cycles of breath. And one last. Slowly, wherever we are, gently releasing. Taking a bend in the legs, bringing them in towards the abdomen. If the head and shoulders want to lift as you rock forwards here, allow it, don't resist it. And then bringing the soles of the feet together, and the knees drop wide here for our reclined bound angle. So remember to tuck the tailbone, and we're pushing the center of the pelvis forwards and upwards as we do so. Then let gravity do the work. Soften, relax, let the knees pull wide and open. Option to bring the arms nice and wide as well. Just taking a few moments to sink into stillness here. Last couple of cycles of breath. And then bringing the arms down by the side, the hands underneath the outside of the thighs, and we'll push the elbows into the earth. Use as much strength in the forearms and the arms as there is available to close the knees slowly, steadily. Make the arms do the work here. Then keeping the knees together, we heel toe the feet out wide towards the outside of the mat. Left hand onto the heart, that's Anahata. And the right hand to Manipur, which is the solar plexus just below. Those two energy centers in the middle of the torso. So just closing off now. taking any last movements the body might ask for, any last positions, maybe a happy baby, or one more hug of the knees, or windscreen wiper of the knees side to side, or if and when the body feels ready. And then just adjusting ourselves, arms and legs length and width of the mat into our final relaxation. If you're like me, you might need to scoot up the mat. I was nearly off the front of it. And just taking our final position, our Shavasana. And allowing the body to be our guide now as it starts to numb and dissolve into the earth. And that tether between our awareness and the body starts to fade and dissolve as well. Just follow suit with the awareness, with the mind. And as opposed to riding the movement of thought, just allow the awareness to dissolve somewhere beyond a daydream. awareness returning. Taking deep inhalation, expanding the tummy, expanding the rib cage. And then discovering gentle movement in the toes, in the fingers. The ankles and the wrists. Beginning to lengthen through the legs and point the toes. Taking the arms over the head, really reaching out through the body. Another deep breath here. And as we exhale and bring the arms back down by the sides, very mindful of the lower back, we can bring the knees up and into the abdomen. Just for one last tug here. Perhaps another little rock side to side. And then choosing to turn very softly through one side, or to rock gently forwards up into our seated position when we're ready. We'll take one last deep breath together and find length one last time. As we reach the arms wide and high, gaze skywards, connect the palms above the head. With the exhalation, bringing the hands down to heart center. And we'll close with the Mahamrityunjaya. Om Triambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivartanam Uvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshyamamritat. Om Shanti.